So to my surprise, y'all, Gavin Newsom has been laser focused on Trump's overreach and abuses and authoritarianism in the wake of the protests in LA, and then Trump federalizing the National Guard, and then Trump sending the Marines in and then sending more Marines in. I mean, this is all, and by the way, this is all laid out in Project 2025. They want to do the Insurrection Act, do martial law, basically make this country a police state, ban free speech, ban free protest. And this is the canary in the coal mine. This is like instance number one where they're going to do it. And then they plan on doing more illegal ICE raids with masked thugs going after innocent people in every major Democratic city. Then that'll lead to protests. Then that'll lead to Trump deploying more U.S. military in U.S. streets. And we are off to the fucking races. And so to my surprise, Gavin has been laser focused on this and just going hard in the paint at the right. And you love to see it. So we got quite a few examples of that here. Let's start. This interview came out, I believe it was right when we learned that Trump is sending or federalizing the National Guard. And this may have been either immediately after or just before he sent in the Marines. So here we go. Let's listen to what he says.
I'm inside the Emergency Operations Center run by the County of Los Angeles here with Governor Gavin Newsom. Governor, thanks for joining us live on MSNBC.
Good to be with you.
So this is, as I said, the Emergency Operations Center. I wonder how you would characterize the events that are unfolding in Los Angeles right now. Is it an emergency? Is it, Fox News is calling it the LA riots? Is it a peaceful protest? What's happening? What are you seeing?
Well, I mean, look, Donald Trump has created the conditions you see on your TV tonight. He's exacerbated the conditions. He's, lit the proverbial match. He's putting fuel on this fire ever since he announced he was taking over the National Guard. An illegal act, an immoral act, an unconstitutional act, and we're going to test that theory with a lawsuit tomorrow.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Sorry to interrupt you, but Governor, so that's news. If you're going to sue the administration, tell me a little bit about it. Give us a preview of this lawsuit.
Well, under his executive order, it specifically notes, and under what the DOD did, is they had to coordinate with the governor of the state. They never coordinate with the governor of the state. I've worked with the National Guard. We've deployed the National Guard. We did 3,000+ folks have been doing logistics work and fire recovery work when they're fighting the fires, the rattlesnake teams. We did the same back in George Floyd. We have no problem working collaboratively in a mutual aid system with local law enforcement, but there's a protocol, there's a process. He didn't care about that. And the worst part, he completely lied. He said in a tweet that everything's now safe, everything's fine. Is that the case, Mr. Trump? He said because he deployed the National Guard. The Guard hadn't even been deployed when he said this. It's Orwellian. Simply lying to people. Unconstitutional, illegal act, his mess. We're trying to clean it up.
You're saying that the President of the United States has made the situation on the ground here in Los Angeles less safe. What do you know about immigration enforcement today? Has there been any ICE raids in the city today? Are they coordinating with you on that at all? They giving you a heads up?
Of course they're not coordinating. That said, we were told in just a recent briefing just a few minutes ago there was small activity in the county and not in the city proper. But look, you made a point a moment ago. These images are unacceptable. These kids on the car, the folks that are taking advantage of this, these aren't peaceful protesters, a lot of these folks, a lot of great people out there doing the right thing. But you get these surging groups coming in, sort of these anarchists that are in there to create real problems. And they're just playing right into Donald Trump's hand. And they need to be called out. They need to be arrested. It is wrong to destroy other people's property. And it is wrong to create the conditions that only exacerbate this. But Donald Trump, at the end of the day, is the sponsor of these conditions.
Let me give you the opportunity. You mentioned that there are people out there causing mischief and mayhem. What's your message to those people who are out there tonight? Not the peaceful protesters that are out there protesting for the rights of immigrants, but for the people that are doing damage to buildings, to law enforcement.
Well, they're doing more than damage to buildings and to property. They're potentially damaging the very foundation of our republic. The democracy is in the balance. I mean, you're seeing these authoritarian tendencies now are being acted out by this administration. And we're case in point as it relates to nationalizing, federalizing the National Guard, threatening now to put in Marines. So I hope these people would pause.
So this was before, and then he did put the Marines in. Holy shit.
And just consider. Now, some of them, they want that kind of chaos. In some ways, they're adjacent to where Donald Trump is. But the peaceful protesters, we want to keep them safe. We want them to exercise their fundamental rights. We want to keep those that are enforcing the laws in a respectful and responsible way also safe. But Donald Trump needs to pull back. He needs to stand down. Donald Trump is inflaming these conditions. This is Donald Trump's problem right now, and if he can't solve it, we will.
He continues to, as always, hit you hard publicly. Just 10 minutes ago, he put out another Truth Social telling you and the mayor to apologize to the people of Los Angeles. You guys go at it pretty hard publicly, but I know you talk privately. Have you spoken in the last couple of days to the president about any of this?
Yeah, we talked for almost 20 minutes, and this issue never came up. I kept trying to talk about L.A. He wanted to talk about all these other issues. We had a very decent conversation.
When was this?
This was late Friday night, I think about 1:30 plus his time.
After the protest had started?
After the protest, and he never once brought up the National Guard. He's a stone-cold liar. He said he did. Stone-cold liar. Never did. was a very civil conversation. I've always wanted to approach engagement with the President of the United States in a respectful and responsible way. But there's no working with the president. There's only working for him. And I will never work for Donald Trump.
Did you mention at all to him in that phone call on Friday night the types of raids that were happening in your state on Friday? You know, there are reports that and video of enforcement operations happening in ways that they haven't traditionally. ICE officers going to Home Depots around Los Angeles and picking off day laborers. Did you bring that up with him?
The conversation started with the frame of what's happening in L.A. He immediately pivoted to other interests and other things.
Do you think he was aware of what was happening in Los Angeles?
I think I'm more than aware. And obviously, he was setting this up to take these additional steps.
This was a setup.
And I'm not saying he was setting things up. I'm not saying it was a setup. But clearly, they were in the process of moving to these next steps because out of nowhere, just a few hours after that conversation, he moves to pull the trigger under this construct under Title 10 and then created and exacerbated the conditions that are persisting today.
This is your authority normally to deploy the National Guard here. Right. You did it. We were together after the fires, and those National Guard troops have been out all across Los Angeles working to rebuild and recover this city. How did you find out that the President of the United States was going to usurp your authority and deploy your National Guard here in California?
I got a call from a staffer. No heads up whatsoever. And again, we're here to support local law enforcement. There's a mutual aid process. Local law enforcement had no needs. They were not requesting any additional resources. I've got 100 now. I have 175 CHP officers, technically trained officers, tactical teams to address Donald Trump's mess. We are here to support local law enforcement, the sheriff's office, LAPD, but they didn't need that support. He made this up. This is a manufactured crisis in order to get under the tent to start to stretch credulity and to begin the process of moving inevitably towards a constitutional questioning crisis around posse comitatus. And it's, I think, inevitable. That's where he's going.
Tom Homan, the border czar, said to me yesterday he did not rule out literally arresting you, nor Mayor Bass, if you interfere in his work. He said you hadn't yet.
He's a tough guy. Why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me. But you know what? Let your hands off 4-year-old girls that are trying to get educated. Let your hands off these poor people who are just trying to live their lives, man. Trying to live their lives, paying their taxes, been here 10 years. The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
I genuinely don't know where the other Democrats are. Like, where are the other... Like, so now he's got to take on this fight alone. Why? Because it has to do with California? Because it's happening in L.A.? But Trump is already going to do it in other major Democratic cities. They're not going to stop. They're going to keep going. This is the model. The model is do illegal ICE raids that lead to backlash and protests, then send in the U.S. military to occupy our own streets and take away the rights of our own people. So where the fuck are the other Democrats? All I see is him fighting back, and it's 1 versus 20 on the other side. All right, but there's more. Mike Johnson was asked about Newsom, and listen to what he said.
The president said, possibly in jest, that if he were Tom Homan, he would arrest Gavin Newsom. Do you believe that Newsom should face consequences in a legal way?
That's not my lane. I'm not going to give you legal analysis on whether Gavin Newsom should be arrested, but he ought to be tarred and feathered, I'll say that. I mean, look, he's standing in the way of the administration and the carrying out of federal law, right? He is applauding the bad guys and standing in the way of the good guys. He is trying to, he's a participant, an accomplice in our federal law enforcement agents being not just disrespected, but assaulted.
This is such fucking horseshit. They're raiding meat packing facilities, and they're raiding elementary schools and graduations, and they're raiding Home Depots and 7-Elevens and hair salons, and they're rounding up innocent people with no criminal record. None. So when you go into the community with masked ICE Gestapo thugs with fucking Nazi tattoos, no badges, driving regular cars, and by the way, there are already copycat crimes that are happening as a direct result of the ICE agents wearing gaiters and having no badge and driving regular cars. Now people are pretending to be ICE agents and going on crime sprees because you guys laid this lawless groundwork. Spare me with your fucking sanctimonious horseshit about you're getting away of the law. No, everything this regime is doing is flatly illegal. And they've been told time and time and time again by the courts. Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act. 4 different courts now, including MAGA judges, have said, You can't do it. You've stretched the definition of the word invasion to the point where it's fucking meaningless.
This is a serious problem, and the governor is now filing a lawsuit against the president. What a joke. Do your job, man. That's what I tell Gavin Newsom.
It's a joke to file a lawsuit against the president when he is illegally federalizing the National Guard. It was a day of protest at the time, and then when Trump escalated it, now it's gotten more violent and gone on longer. So he said, as you heard, Gavin Newsom should be tarred and feathered. Gavin responds, good to know we're skipping the arrest and going straight to the 1700s-style forms of punishment. A fitting threat given the GOP wants to bring our country back to the 18th century. That is fucking accurate as well. Holy shit. So Trump's rapid response team said, Gavin Newsom claims President Trump is traumatizing our communities by taking criminal, illegal immigrant killers, rapists, gangbangers, drug dealers, human traffickers, and domestic abusers off the street. Then he responds, was the 4-year-old the gangbanger? Was the pregnant woman the rapist? We go after serious violent criminals in California. That's not what you are doing. Then we also have Stephen Miller, the sanctimonious asshole, Stephen Miller. He says, didn't have a problem. Your state is a criminal sanctuary for millions of illegal alien invaders. By the way, let me just pause here to point out. The reason why sanctuary cities exist is so that an immigrant who's here in an undocumented way, if they see a crime, they can call the cops to get the criminal arrested. If you don't have a sanctuary city, the immigrant is not going to call the cops because they think if I call the cops, they might deport me. So you can see a fucking murder or a robbery or any of a number of crimes and go, I ain't getting involved because I don't want to get fucking deported. But if you protect them in a sanctuary city, you will end up getting more actual criminals. That's the whole point of a sanctuary city, you fucking jackasses. So if you actually believe in law and order, being tough on crime, you would support the idea of a sanctuary city. Oh my God. Didn't have a problem. Your state is a criminal sanctuary for millions of illegal alien invaders, cartel killers, foreign terrorists, transnational gangs, and insurrectionist mobs. Huge swaths of the city where I was born now resemble failed third world nations. A ruptured, balkanized society of strangers. When our courageous ICE officers fighting to rescue your communities came under violent, organized attack, you and the LA mayor left them unforgivably to fend for themselves. When the rioters swarmed, you handed over your streets willingly. You still refuse to arrest and prosecute the arsonists, seditionists, and insurrectionists. This administration is fighting to save the city and the citizens you have left to struggle and suffer. So he responds, the only people defending insurrectionists are you and Trump, or are we pretending like you didn't pardon 1,500 of them? It's true. I don't want to hear a fucking word from you guys. Insurrectionist. You literally pardoned them. Over 400 of them were violent. Over 100 of them literally assaulted cops. You pardoned all of them. One of them went on to be a fredophile, by the way. Another one went on to kill somebody in a drunk driving accident. These are criminals. Don't talk to me about anti-Semitism. You guys pardoned somebody who was wearing a Camp Auschwitz hoodie. I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't want to hear it. And Stephen Miller was the guy yelling at ICE officers saying, why are you only going after criminals? Don't do that. Go after the people at the Home Depot and the people at the 7-Eleven and the hair salon and the school and here and there. We want 3,000 deportations a day, baby. We can't just go after the criminals. We're already through all the criminals. So by the way, I crunched the numbers on this. There's already been, you ready for this? Under Trump, there's already been 100,000 ICE arrests. 100,000. Did you know less than 1% of the immigrant population are violent criminals? 1%. Less than 1%. In total, the number is 10,000 or fewer. Violent criminal undocumented immigrants. 10,000 or fewer. They've already arrested 100,000. There are 10,000 or fewer violent undocumented immigrants in this country in total. So that means 90,000 people, no criminal record, completely innocent. They're fucking with them. They're ruining their lives. As we know, they've deported young American citizens, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old. The 4-year-old had cancer. They arrested a woman immediately after she gave birth. They arrested a U.S. Marshal because he was fucking Hispanic. What are we doing here? Oh my God. Jesus Christ, dog. And I got one more for you. So Governor Newsom's press office, they've been going hard in the paint. So Trump keeps saying all these things, which literally sound like evil comic book villain shit. And so they've now turned that into a meme where now you're going to see this is like what Trump has been saying mixed with, like Star Wars, the evil emperor from Star Wars saying it. Watch.
We made a great decision in sending the National Guard to deal with the violent, instigated riots in California. If we had not done so, Los Angeles would have been completely obliterated. The very incompetent governor, Gavin Newsom, and Mayor Karen Bass should be saying, "Thank you, President Trump. You are so wonderful. We would be nothing without you, sir." Instead, they choose to lie to the people of California and America by saying that we weren't needed and that these are peaceful protests. Just one look at the pictures and videos of the violence and destruction tells you all you have to know. We will always do what is needed to keep our citizens safe so we can together make America great again.
They're cooking them because the bottom line is this. None of this would be happening if you weren't doing illegal, unconstitutional ICE raids where ICE is acting as Trump's Gestapo, violating so many laws, no due process, no habeas corpus, fucking Nazi tattoos showing, gators over their face, regular plated cars, going into workplaces. By the way, what happened? I thought, the lazy immigrants are taking all the welfare, and that's why we're raiding all of these workplaces where they're at work. Spare me. Spare me. We're done with this. Stop the illegal raids and stop them now. By the way, there's already been an article, I believe it was in NBC News, where they said, they're making it harder to do these raids now. It's more difficult now. Good! That's the point. That's the fucking point. So yes, the fascists overreached. They crossed a line. The public snapped. The public's out in the streets. They're not stopping. They're surrounding the ICE federal building saying, release these people now, because those are innocent people that are part of a community. None of this would be happening if they weren't going full fucking fascist and taking innocent people and ruining their lives. Spare me. If you were just deporting violent, criminal, undocumented immigrants, none of this would be happening. None of this would be happening. As I said, there's 10,000 or fewer of those in the country. Nobody's got a problem. Okay, yeah, you want to send those? Go ahead. Every administration does that. That's not fucking novel. That's not fucking novel. You're way above and beyond that. Why? Because they are, in their heart of hearts, white nationalist. Understand that. That's what they are. And that's why they'll stop at nothing to do mass deportations, even though they know they're getting all these innocent people. They are destroying this country day by day. Finally, somebody is fighting back, but he needs reinforcements. For the love of God, I know Chuck Schumer is useless. Can you fucking stop being humiliating for one day? Can Hakeem Jeffries stop being humiliating? Can any Democrats, like what? You think, it's a states issue, so I'm staying out of it. The man is deploying the U.S. military in the streets of the United States. This is not just a state issue. This is about democracy. This is about checks and balances. This is about having a country that's not a fascist authoritarian hellhole. Speak up now. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.